Hello, we are back for part 4 of our Loom Knit sock. We're going to finish up the short row increases that we did, and then I'm going to show you how to do the foot. Okay, so now on pegs 1 and 33, there should still be 2 loops. I believe on the last video I misspoke and said 1 loop, and on another part I said 2 pegs. So I hope you understood all that. It's 2 loops left on this one and 2 loops left on this one. Okay, so now your working yarn is on this peg, which is not your starter peg, but I want you to go from here and I want you to knit all the way around. Now these are still a little bit tight stitches from doing your heel, your toe. You want that because you don't want your toe, or you want minimal holes in your toe along the seams that we just did. So it's okay, but once you come around here once or twice, your tension will ease up and it'll be a lot easier to be knitting all these off for your foot. So it's just going to take me a minute to get around since they are a little bit more snug. I hope you understood the increases and decreases and so forth to make your toe not hard at all. If you were familiar with flat knitting back and forth, it was a lot easier than if you've only ever knitted in the round, but it really is not too bad, just you knitting back and forth. Now as we pass this peg with the 2 loops on, we're just going to knit it together as one, but we're not going to turn around this time. We're going to keep going. So just knit those 2 over as one and push these down a little bit. Now on this side, we're going to keep on going. Now this side, you have some little stitches that are going to pop out and make it a little bit clumsy for you for a few rows. But I promise it will get better. So just bear with me here. We're going to go all the way around. You can see some of these loops. That's from your messy loops in here. You're loose. And that's perfectly fine. That's the way it's supposed to be. Just make sure you're only knitting over this and that you're not grabbing anything in there. Just the one on the peg. If they start to get too many, just reach in and give them a little tug and get them out of your way. You will have to do that for a few rows in. Keep going here. You'll see that sloppy looking stitch work. That's normal. You just give it a little tug and we'll push it down a little bit. It's all going to work out, I promise. Okay, so let's just keep going here. You're hearing all my clocks go off this afternoon. I have 2 of those rhythm clocks that are just so beautiful. I think they're off by about a minute. They never play together, but it makes it like 2 songs for every hour. Okay, so now we're getting back to the last peg. Okay, this one here is peg 64. This is the last peg. Okay, so now just pull your yarn out from between these 2, your last peg and your starter peg. I just want you to go and push them down a little bit. And I want you to turn your loop like this, and you'll just reach in and just give them a little pull. That'll help pull in those loose ones from the other side. Now they will still remain loose for a few rows, but it will help a little bit if you do that each time. Okay, and now so there's 1 more row to do that is part of the increases, and that's because you still have the 2 loops on the first peg. Okay, so this time around we will knit those 2 together like that, and we will continue to U-knit all the way around the peg, and that you'll stop here between these 2 pegs like we just did. Now that is the end of your toe increases. That's the end of your toe period. So now what you have to do is your foot. Now the foot is really easy. You just U-knit around and around and around, however many rows you need. You will need to do a little calculating. You can find on the internet, you can find some worksheets available that can help you. Now this is my 4th pair. I wear a size 8 shoe, and forget how long my foot measures, but I can give that information below. But I do 75 rows for my foot. I also use a sock ruler, and I make sure that when I'm at the 75 row mark that it matches the US 8 size shoe on the sock ruler. Let me grab that for you. This is a sock ruler I purchased. It's clear acrylic. It's very nice. I got it from Amazon, but I really like it. But what you'll do is you will eventually, this will be much longer, your foot. Or this is just your toe. But then it'll come up and reach down, and I usually try to get it all the way down to a US 8 before I start my heel. And it's been fitting perfectly. Absolutely perfectly. So I know that mine is 75 rows after the toe and before the heel. So you have to do a little bit of work or a little experimenting. Your first sock may not come out. I was just really, really lucky that 75 rows was exactly what I needed. I think if you use a ruler or go on and use some kind of calculations that you can find online or spreadsheets, that may tell you how many rows you need. And that's what you'll do. Okay, so I'm going to do 75 rounds and round and round and round I go. Make sure after each time, because this is going to remain loopy looking on this side. So every time you finish this and come back to the starter peg, just reach in from the bottom and give it a gentle pull out. I don't know how many rows, but once this gets down, once your rows will start getting like this and get some moves away from the loom, you won't have that anymore. These will just become loose and they'll stay there until we do the closure of the toe. All right, I wish you luck for your toe or your foot. I'm sorry. And I'll meet you back here when you are ready to start your heel. Thank you.